It's time to hold on to your balls, and if you don't have any of your own, grab someone else's, because you know what? Super Rugby Pacific is back, and we've got a full round of teams named, ready to go for you know what. That's right, Super Rugby Pacific Fantasy is ready for round number 1. So you know what's left to do is to share and share alike about our fantasy teams for the opening round. So get in the comments and let us know what your team is. But today, I'm going to share with you mine, so you can be prepared at what's going to kick your ass in fantasy this season. What is going on, team, and welcome back along to the channel. Super Rugby is just hours away from kicking off, and we have a full complement of teams named for round number 1, so we can finally confirm and select the final pieces of our fantasy team for the opening weekend. I've had to make a couple of changes from the team that I named about a week ago in the preparation, you may call it, phase of this competition. So I'm pretty happy if I've come away with just a couple of edits. So Charlie Kale not playing this weekend, and Amoni Norawa is off the bench as well. So just the couple of changes for me. But let's take a look at my team and see how good it's going to go this weekend. Of course, if you're not involved in our league yet, make sure you sign up. A heap of you guys did after the last video, so make sure you get involved and have your bragging rights of all these other chumps that are going to eat the dust of the mighty cornflake this season. So let's check out the team and see who we've got selected. So if you're lucky enough to catch my earlier video about Super Rugby Pacific Fantasy, this is when I named a bit of a preliminary side, not knowing who was playing this weekend in terms of squads, just kind of guessing it out of who I'd like to have in my team. I was lucky enough to get 13 players selected and starting for this weekend. So if you watch that one, you won't see too much difference, because you never change your mind late when it comes to these things. Just like tipping, just like fantasy, you've got to stay true and consistent. So with that, my front row will be unchanged. Xavier Numia, Ricky Riccatelli at hooker, and Angus Bell will be the second of my 2 props. These guys, they can run, they can make meters, they play good minutes generally as well, and of course, in the case of Ricky Riccatelli, he can score tries. So what better way than to bring those 3 guys together, a bit of Australian and a bit of that Wellington-Auckland rivalry as well. Those suckers are playing together for my fantasy team. I'm keeping things back in New Zealand for my second row. Arkoi will be alongside Tuipulotu, a bit of a Chiefs, Waikato and Auckland with the Blues combination. Experience with the Tuipulotus, had a really good last 12 to 18 months in the Blues, and of course with the All Blacks as well. And Arkoi, I think, is a player who's had a brilliant season last year, and I think he's going to go strength to strength and push a higher claim for a position New Zealand Rugby lacked about, a year or 2 ago in that second row. Now look really, really strong. The likes of Arkoi and Tuipulotu stepping up into that mix. Now those 2 teams are playing each other as well. The Blues versus the Chiefs is going to be a cracker of a matchup to tune into this weekend. Moving into the second row, again, we're staying very much New Zealand with this front pack, with this forward pack. Only Angus Bell sticking it in for the Aussies, but Ari Savia from Moana Pacifica gets the nod for me. No, he's not going to be my captain. We'll see him soon. Dalton Papali'i not changing there as well. And instead of having Charlie Kale, we've had to ditch him into the bin, and we've gone with Braden Yossi. So I think this is a guy from the Hurricanes. Again, a phenomenal 2024. I'm looking for him to step up another gear and take it to a whole new level in this season's Super Rugby Pacific. That's my forward pack. A lot of contributions there from the Blues especially, a couple from the Hurricanes, and just a little bit of a smattering of the Chiefs, and of course Moana Pacific and the Waratahs to boot as well. Things change a lot when we look into the back line. Of course, you can't go past Cam Roigard, who's going to be rocking it in the first game this season against the Crusaders. What kind of Crusaders? Well, if you've watched them in pre-season, there's good reason why your faith may be a little bit lacking about what the Crusaders can do, and fair enough too. That's kind of the reason why I've only selected one of their players in my team so far this season. So Cam Roigard will run the show from 9, and he'll be partnered up for me with Noah Lolosio. Again, don't really find too much value in the New Zealand 10s. Going to Australia, Lolosio, ace goal kicker, really learning to run the game well. Again, need a big season from Noah Lolosio in 2025. The midfield was a really tough one to pick, but if you want a try-scoring machine, the man from the Fijian and Drua and Masi is a guy that ticks that box, especially through the midfield. My second midfielder was one I didn't really wasn't too sure if he was going to start, be benched, coming later in the season, fitness, injuries, where he was going to stand. But Quinta Paya is ready, is starting. He's nudged off Anton Brown to the bench. So Quinta Paya, I'm expecting big things in your game against the Blues. Now you're up against All Blacks in the opposition as well, the likes of Mariko Ioane. So we need a big performance from Quinta Paya. Bit of a dark horse selection, I think, for me. He's capable. We know it. Let's see if he can return to that post-year injury form that we seen from him a couple of years ago. Now the outside backs are where the points are going to be scored. Who are going to score them? I'll tell you, Will Jordan, my only Crusader. Who'd have thought I'd be saying that 2 or 3 years ago when the Crusaders were so dominant? Now, it's almost as if like there's too many red jumpers in this team, I've got to cut some out. Alongside him will be Andrew Callaway. I'm expecting big things from him moving from the Rebels, where he really was a lone pony trying to run the show and score all the points. Now with the Waratahs, a better team, how well will he blend with that side is going to dictate how well Andrew Callaway is going to go this season, especially early on. And the final part, no Emmanuel Narawa this weekend for the Chiefs. He'll be off the bench, which for me is a chop. He's gone. Instead, going back to the Brumbies, I dropped a Brumby in the forward pack and Charlie Cale. I've brought one in the back three with Corey Toole. Express pace with the Brumbies up against the Drua. It's going to be open, hopefully. It's going to be expansive, hopefully. The Drua, surely you've got to match fire with fire and score 7-pointers. Corey Toole knows his way to the try line. That leaves me one mighty million in the bank, which I'll just pocket and take to the bank myself and spend on much better things. Thank you very much for that, Super Rugby Pacific. I'll just take that million, I'll be on my way. So what does your team look like for this weekend in Super Rugby Pacific Fantasy? If you've not joined our league, again, link will be down in the description. There'll be a thing on screen as well. You can check it out at the start, and there should be one here now as well if my editing prowess has been, well, nerfed any less than it already is. And of course, join in, have a bit of banter, come join the Discord and have your say on there. There's going to be heaps of chat going on around Super Rugby, a lot of guys involved in it already with our league, so make sure you join in, have some fun and throw some crap around the stables, and make sure you get your bragging rights if you have a good, just even one good game and have a really good player. My captain this weekend will be Masi, the Drua midfielder, so I'm hoping he can rack up some points, score some tries and get some exciting start to this weekend. Send me your team in the comments below. Who's your bolter? Who's your cheapie who you think is going to score lots of points? Let me know. And of course, make sure if you're top of the league, you let us know about it. Of course, Super Rugby Pacific Fantasy have come out pretty hard on the promotion of this new game to Super Rugby, and they've come out just today with the most popular choices for each position heading into the opening weekend of the competition. I thought that's interesting enough. You know, I see these guys here, Ethan de Groot, good call, Tamaiti Williams, nice enough, and then I see Takiaho as the most popular hooker for team selected this weekend. He's not even playing. He's injured. So I think, okay, well, that's all right. We've just got these guys who are picking players they know. So look through the rest. I see Scott Barrett. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, Scotty Barrett starting for the Crusaders. And I see Tupu Vai, who's off the bench. That's going to cost you a little bit of points not getting guys starting and potentially playing 80 minutes. Artie Savia, of course, a very popular choice, always going to be there. But Rob Valentini, no, he's injured. Out. He's even got the little hospital icon next to his name. So another one. In the most popular players by position, not playing this weekend. Alongside him, Peter Lakai. Not playing either. He's on the bench, not starting. Again, more points lost, which means I'll be higher up the ladder at the end of this round, which is great for me. Roy Gardner-McKenzie, unsurprisingly, the most popular pick for the 9-10 combo. And then into that midfield, Saili is, of course, the man will be alongside, hang on, Proctor, who's not playing for the Hurricanes this weekend. So no Proctor, so that pressure goes on to the new Waratahs star in Sueli to get all the points for your midfield, because Proctor sure as hell ain't going to do it. No surprise, Will Jordan, Mark Talia are the most popular of the outside backs. And Tom Wright, yeah, he should be up there as well. But again, not selected. He ain't going to get you crap. this weekend. So if you are joining in with Super Rugby Fantasy, make sure you get your team set on a Thursday, kind of Friday, before the weekend kicks off, to make sure that you do get the full amount of points you can for players who are playing this weekend. And of course, if you're still hanging around the old school tipping, yep, that's still going for another season. Feel free to jump in on this one as well. But just quickly, my tips for this coming weekend, if you want to throw the house on it, not recommended. My history of tipping is not great, but for the opening weekend, we've got the first game of the competition, Crusaders up against the Hurricanes. Big Friday night encounter. I'm going with the majority on this one. Hurricanes pick up the win. Going for a margin, I think it might be closer than people expect. Just the 8 points between those two. I'm going against the grain for pretty much every other match. Yeah, I really am going against the grain. Hurricanes beat the Waratahs at Allianz Stadium. I'm going with the Drua to beat the Brumbies at HFC Bank Stadium. I'm going with the Chiefs to get the nod over the Blues at Eden Park. Yeah, I know, sue me. And the Western Force with a big trip to Perth. Surely they'll get the job done against Moana Pacifica. Big thing for me, Chiefs going with that 10-15 combo of Jacob and with Mackenzie at the back. I think that is a much more suited style and positional play for a Mackenzie. I'm thinking he's going to do good things this weekend for the Chiefs. The rest of them though, boy, if you put that on the TAB, you may get $1 or $2. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're running around with all those $100 bills in your back pocket. That is it for me though today, Ting. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Be prepared and ready for next weekend when we look at round 2 of Super Rugby Fantasy and a little bit of tipping as well. So good luck this weekend. Again, make sure to join the league, join the Discord and have a bit of banter, and we'll see you out there on the field for round 1 of Super Rugby. Until then, thanks for watching and take care.